Hey everybody, Rachel from Clay Scoliosis Clinic. This is our second video in our series on x-rays, and today I want to talk to you about Cobb angles. I want to talk about the Cobb angle because it's central in deciding the severity of scoliosis. In general, 0 to 20 degrees of a Cobb angle with scoliosis is considered mild, 20 to 45 is considered moderate scoliosis, and 45 degrees and higher usually falls into the severe category of scoliosis. And this is a measure that you hear about a lot. It is involved when it comes to making any decision in bracing, surgery, therapy, etc. And it's what we use to track if your scoliosis is improving or if it's progressing over time. So I think it's very important for us to understand what the Cobb angle is. And there's a lot of confusion about it. And a lot of times we will sit in meetings with healthcare providers, talk about it, but not really know how it's being measured or what it means. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And here in my x-ray, this is an S-curve, so if you have multiple curves in your scoliosis, you will actually have 2, sometimes even 3 Cobb angles. We are generally most concerned about whichever Cobb angle is the largest. We'll just kind of talk through it a little bit. In order to understand your Cobb angle, you need to know what your apex of your curve is. So let's look at the top one first. In this thoracic curve, from here to here, my apex is the part of the spine that is going furthest away from midline. So we're looking at about right there is the apex of this curve. Okay, for your lumbar spine, the low back, this curve, if we're looking what part extends farthest away, I would say right about here is the apex. Okay, when you are drawing your Cobb angle, it is a manual measurement. It's going to be a little bit different depending on who does it. What we're looking for is which vertebra is most tilted above and which vertebra is most tilted below the apex. So for this upper curve, if we're looking here, it's more tilted here, it's more tilted here, a little less tilted there. So I'm going to draw my line across this tilted vertebra here. Then I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to look at my apex and climb down. It's more tilted here, it's more tilted here, starts to level out here, so I'm going to draw my line here. So the line that you draw from the most tilted below and the most tilted above is what creates your Cobb angle, and then you measure it. We would do the same thing for the lumbar curve. Looking at the apex here, we would see what's most tilted, going up, up, up. We'll draw our line there. Apex going down, most tilted, draw it there. The angle between these two lines gives us our lower Cobb angle. It's not a perfect measurement because everybody is going to look at the x-ray a little bit differently. Somebody else could look at this same scoliosis and say, you know, I don't think it's most tilted at this level. I think it's most tilted here. So they might draw their lines a little bit different. That's why there's about a plus or minus 5 degree variation between people that are measuring the scoliosis. So you could come see me and I'll measure it and say, oh, I think it's about 29 degrees. You could go someone else. They could look at the same x-ray. They could do very diligent measurements and tell you it's 24. And there's not a perfect, this person's right, this person's wrong. There's just variation depending on where people put their lines, slight differences in the way that they draw the angle. But in general, that is the understanding of the Cobb angle. The smaller the angle, the less curvature you have, the larger, the more curvature. But I hope that helps you to be an informed participant when it comes to talking about your curves. And stay tuned to find out what's next.